Hello, Sable Chicken. God did it. Imagine you're in a courtroom and that a trial has taken place and that against the man accused of the crime there is a wealth of evidence. It's scientific evidence. It all ties in together. There's photographic evidence. It's taken weeks for all the expert witnesses to give their testimony. And these experts are scientific. They've demonstrated blood typing evidence, genetic evidence, photographic evidence. And their evidence is compelling. And remember that evidence is fact-based. And then someone stands up towards the end of the trial, perhaps just before sentence is about to be passed, and they stand up and say, no, that man did not do the crime. And the judge, being particularly open-minded, allows the outburst and asks the person who shouted out why they think the man in the dock is innocent. And that person replies, because I feel it in my heart. I just know. Is that how you want the justice system to work? That we don't have evidence? That the men and women of the jury are wheeled in on day one and simply asked for their opinions on whether the man looks guilty or not, and then that person is locked away? I don't think you would. But that's in essence what you're asking the scientifically minded to do. If the evidence didn't contradict the Bible, then of course there wouldn't be a problem. But the Bible is a book without evidence. It has testimony galore, but there aren't any facts which can actually be verified. The Gospels were written 40 years after Christ died. The Romans, who were the authority at the time, were meticulous in their record keeping, and there's no mention of Jesus in any Roman document, even though he supposedly caused a great deal of problems for them in the Middle East. And that the details in the Bible, what few details there are, completely contradict the evidence that we have. I believe in Genesis it says that the world was created, and then God said, let there be light. That the truth is actually the other way around. The light came first, and then 8.5 to 9 billion years later, the earth began to form. And the process of the earth's formation didn't take 6 days or 6,000 years. It probably took millions of years before it had even 90% of the current size that it has. I'm going to mention something now which may end the debate between us, but it's something that I have to say. And it concerns brainwashing. I don't think there'd be too much argument against the statement that during the Cold War the Russian people were brainwashed. They weren't allowed to freely see television signals or radio signals from the West. There was an element of control over what books were available for them to read. And that's all you have to do to brainwash someone. Feed their ears with what you want them to hear. Feed their eyes with what you want them to see. And control what books they read. Brainwashing isn't very difficult to do. It's a very simple process. Experts can achieve it in a few months. And it's so much easier if you're dealing with someone young, because, as has been stated many times, you don't have to wash the brain first. The brain is already clean and ready to receive what you give it. I have a lot of sympathy with your position. A great deal of sympathy. Here you are, trying to tell me about God, who you love so much. And I'm talking about one of the most hideous crimes that can be committed against another human being, which is the hobbling of their mind and their intellect. You've got a picture in your head of the universe. I won't talk about the magic of science for now. I'll just strip it down to what I perceive as your predicament. You've got a picture already in your head that is very, very beautiful. And I am proposing that somebody, obviously many people, have participated in brainwashing you. So you have on one side fantastic beauty, and on the other side the possibility that it's all a lie and that the most hideous crime has been committed against you, and quite possibly by the people that you love the most, who of course are merely perpetuating the crime that was committed against them. So I can see how really impossible that position is for you. Who can turn away from extreme beauty and gaze long and hard at something so ugly? I do understand. And I forgive you if you're unable to do it, because it takes a while to see the beauty in science. What I would do to try and find out if I was brainwashed would be to explore the opposing view. Better still, to go to my pastor and say, you found a book written by a famous scientist who explains from beginning to the present day how the universe works, and you're reading this because of your love of God. Now, if your God has anything to do with the truth, the pastor should say, how wonderful, I'd like to read the book after you. I too cannot learn enough about how the universe works, because that is the work of my Creator. If, however, you're presented with what book? Written by who? I think I should check it out first. Why do you need to read that? You already have all the answers in this book that I've given you. If that's the reaction you get, as someone who may potentially be brainwashed, I think you'd have the right to be very, very suspicious. As ever, good luck.